So, a couple nights ago, I had heard that Daniel Larson was arrested for the fourth time in the past 2 months. And honestly, like most of y'all, I thought, well, he'll be out in the morning. No harm, no foul. Daniel Larson gets arrested pretty often, and they always give him a slap on the wrist no matter what he does. And so, as time went on, things begun to look more and more bleak for old Daniel as some of his charges started to come out. No longer was this just a probation violation or something like that. This time, Daniel is being charged with 7 counts. 7 counts of terroristic threats. Now, if you followed along with Daniel's story at all, you know that this is not like some crazy, shocking thing. I mean, this video I'm showing on screen right now, he's making those same threats like right here. He's known to do this quite a lot. And today, we're going to find out what those 7 exact instances are. We're going to hear Daniel's first phone call from jail. We're going to learn a whole lot about this situation because, ladies and gentlemen, basically what I'm here to tell you today is that we probably have seen the end of Daniel Larson on the internet. Now, that is a great thing. It's a great thing anytime these predators get ousted off the internet, but it's even a better thing to remember that the streets of Colorado are just that much safer now that Daniel's not on them. And I know you're probably thinking there's gotta be some way that his plot armor is strong enough to withstand a devastating blow like this, but I don't think this time's gonna be, it's not going to be like the last few times, I'll tell you that much. Daniel is being federally charged this time. He even brings it up, as you're about to hear in a little bit, that the feds got him this time. This was no just regular arrest. He went into his probation office, they scooped him up and took him to jail. Now, here's the thing about this. The feds have a 95 to 99% conviction rate. And Daniel here, if convicted, could face like 10 to 60 years behind bars for this. Yeah, man, we're gonna have to cover all this today. So let's go back to where I first saw Daniel earlier this week. His community tab was pretty quiet for like a day or so, and then he just started going off the rails. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you right now that I believe that this was a troll who had access to Daniel's account at the time, but he was posting some really creepy stuff about the FBI showing him CP, and these are the things that I think initially people thought were the reason that he got arrested. Turns out it was more for the threats, but I imagine a lot of this stuff just tied in with it too. There was a bunch of weird stuff, but then there was a bunch of wacky stuff too, like this picture that someone clearly edited together of Daniel with him like as the Pope or as some kind of cardinal, and they're promoting that Daniel was going to be holding mass at Red Rocks Church this coming Sunday, which now with him behind bars will not be taking place, and it's a shame because Father Larson looked really happy to be there. So a day or two passes and his community tab is still the same old crazy nonsense, and then out of nowhere, again we hear that Daniel Larson got arrested, and shortly afterwards an arrest video was dropped, but not like a body cam footage. It was a Snapchat video that somebody had taken while they were in the same restaurant as Daniel while he was getting arrested. So you can see 2 cops pull up at the restaurant, and they walk over to the corner where Daniel is sitting, presumably just enjoying his meal while watching the Denver Nuggets game. And eventually you see them walk out with Daniel, presumably to then take him to jail, but if Daniel's own words are believed from the phone call we're going to listen to later, he was taken to his probation office where he was then arrested by the feds. So now let's get into that, because that's the most important thing about all this. That's why it says in the thumbnail that this time it's pretty serious now. Daniel Larson isn't facing no more slap on the wrist type punishments here. He really could be going away for a long time. There's no way federal agents would be getting involved in this if it wasn't a serious situation. So now that I have y'all here, I want to tell you exactly why Daniel is being federally charged. Because there are 7 counts of these threats that he made, all about different places, and the first one is namely a particular county courthouse in Colorado. So, we've heard Daniel make threats like this a lot, directed towards, people and buildings, and the courthouse in Colorado does vaguely sound like somewhere he may have threatened before. He always records this and puts it on video, and that's why in every count here in the documents, it says that it was through the use of an instrument of interstate commerce, which is basically just a phone or a laptop or something like that you can then post to social media. You may also be wondering why I'm not showing these documents on screen, and that's just to save my own ass in the future. I don't know if I'm allowed to. I don't really know the whole ramifications for that, but I do know this. I have them up over on my Twitter at SmokeyMCC. If you want to read through them, you can go through it there, but I'm just going to sum them all up here. So the second one, though, the first count was for threatening a courthouse in Colorado. The second one is for threatening a non-profit organization in Colorado. Now, I should mention that the word explosives is also mentioned in each one of these counts because that's what the threats usually entail. The third one is one of the most interesting because they bring up that he's again making threats to government buildings, namely the White House, which is even named in the document, which is pretty insane. The fourth count is yet another government building in Colorado. Now, this one isn't named specifically, it's just a state government building in Colorado that Daniel had threatened. But count 5 is where it gets pretty interesting again, because this time it is a college campus in the state of Colorado, around the month of September. So if you remember what was going on in September, well, Daniel was spending a lot of time trying to buddy up to Deion Sanders. So I think I know exactly which college they're talking about here. Count number 6 is another insane one, with Daniel being charged for threatening an FBI agent, which will again come into play in about another minute or two here. But yeah, he's done that one too. And then finally, number 7 is for threatening to do something to yet another building, this time namely being the Federal Bureau of Investigations building. Daniel is all around just screwed, ladies and gentlemen. These are such heavy things to be charged with. Daniel, though, he's been doing this for so long. All these instances are dated too. August 2023, September 2023, most of them from late summer 2023, funnily enough. So he did a lot of this stuff, and they've just been collecting the evidence, and now they got his ass. So I said in the beginning of the video, do not expect to hear from Larson for a very long time, and I truly do mean that, despite the fact that even with all of this going on, I still feel like there is a 5 to 10% chance that he might just walk away from this. And I know all the cards are stacked against him, but it's Daniel Larson at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Never underestimate his power to just bypass the law. But if we're being really serious here, and we're looking at this from a critical point of view and not a stoner's point of view on YouTube, yeah, Daniel's fucked. There's no way around this. Even if he gets out tomorrow, or even if he gets out in a few years, don't expect to hear from him anytime soon, because they're probably not going to let him be on social media at all. Remember, that's where all of these threats are coming from, and if they think that's a way they can nip this in the bud, then so be it, they're going to do it. But knowing Daniel, he'll run to a payphone or wherever he has to try to get back in contact with the fake Grace Vanderwall. Again, I'm hyping this up a lot, but you're about to hear in this phone call later that all of these things, Grace Vanderwall, him getting out, these are all things he truly still believes, and despite being in jail, nothing is stopping Daniel. As a matter of fact, he doesn't even really sound too bothered by being in jail. And it's Daniel Larson at the end of the day. He doesn't have the best living conditions to begin with, so I'm not too shocked that he's not too upset about this. But the fact that I keep talking about it so much makes me think we should just get right into it. Because after Daniel was arrested, we heard about all these court documents, and like you guys, I was waiting to hear if anything else came out. And eventually, over on the Flexburger channel, this interview with Clark calling Daniel was released, and it reveals a whole lot, ladies and gentlemen, so take a listen.
Hello? Jesus Christ, Daniel.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How are you, bud?
Oh my god. I'm doing okay.
Well,
The feds pretty much got me.
the feds got you?
This time the feds got me. And Bob told me that it wasn't going to happen and he didn't believe me. And I went to probation yesterday, and sure enough, the feds were there, and they charged me with 7 counts of threats from the threats that I made.
7 counts
Recorded
of
by Clark
threats?
and Associates.
Yep, under federal court.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So this shit.
And not only that, the feds apparently are looking into Bob for his finances, and the feds are also, on top of that, now looking into my bank statement, see the real amount that he was giving me.
So they think Bob was also committing fraud as well?
They think that he's committing fraud.
Yeah, because I missed your call last night because I didn't have my debit card or my credit card with me, and I was like, all right, I'll just have to wait till tomorrow. Everyone said...
Right, don't worry about that.
Okay.
It's okay. I did also talk to the public defender. I have court on Monday.
Okay.
Okay, and it is federal court. They were saying that I'm a flight risk and all the garbage, that they're going to say. But, okay. But they're looking at trying to put me in higher security housing.
Jeez.
So it would basically be basic housing, just like if I got released. They're saying that yes, I would be facing prison time if convicted, but my public defender was saying that with me being homeless 5 years and being out cold weather,
Recorded by Clark and
I feel like I'm gonna
Associates.
die and I'm panicking. And when I panic, I say things that I don't mean, and I didn't mean the threat. I don't know how to make explosives, stuff like that. They said that, well, that is true, and that is, I guess, a good defense.
That's perfect to say. I would listen to your public defender because he's 100% right. There's no way you could actually make a bomb or do anything that you said.
Right, and I don't have a violent history like anything like that.
Exactly.
All right, let's go over a few things here. Namely, Daniel giving up his entire defense, which his defense attorney is going to try to throw out there. Basically, they're going to say Daniel has been homeless for so long and is always in that bitter cold that he just had to lash out in some form or fashion. And these threats are how he does it. Now, he may not mean anything by it, but he does it because he's scared and he is the victim. Now, my friends, I'm no lawyer, but I do have Google, and if you Google what the temperature was on August 7th, 2023, the exact same day Daniel made those second round of threats that he's currently in jail for, you will see that it was a cool 75 degrees, with just partly clouds in the sky, a real day for Daniel to threaten a nonprofit organization. He's the victim, don't you people see it? And obviously it's this defense attorney's job to try to get Daniel off, but I mean, anybody who's not just completely insane can see where that defense is absolute bullshit. Another thing that's brought up there is the fact that Bob is apparently being investigated for fraud, and this all stems from the fact that Daniel claims quite a bit that he's given like $200 to $300 every couple days from Bob. I assume this is how he gets his hotel rooms that he ends up in most of the time, but yeah, Bob. Poor old Bob, who just always really wants the best for Daniel, but always gets the shit beaten out of him by Daniel. Yeah, now he's under federal investigation too, so sorry, Bob, that sucks for you. Daniel brings up how they told him he is a flight risk and how that's absolute garbage. And to that I have to say, just like, really? Like that makes complete sense considering all these threats you've been making about like, explosives. So like, I mean, I don't think they're really wrong in saying that. I know myself and any other logically thinking person would not like to be next to you while in the skies. So good on the feds for that one. Daniel also brings up how he does not have a violent past, which again is just utter bullshit when you consider the fact that not only is he violent to himself, like he pummels himself sometimes. Not only is he violent to like just random property around the Colorado area, he's always kicking and punching stuff. And finally, he's dangerous to people around him. We've seen him just tee off on Bob. We've seen him threaten to punch other people, like that dude at the ice cream shop the one time. Daniel is clearly a violent person, and especially with all the threats he makes, it's cut and dry. It's not like there isn't proof of him doing this either. What he's trying to prove is that he just didn't mean it, and that's one of the most difficult things about this, because in maybe some scenarios, a person could be like, hey, this is just he said, she said shit. They said I made a threat, I'm saying I didn't. Well, Daniel Larson broadcasts his to the entire internet, so it's unequivocal that he did this, but what is still up in the air is if he actually planned to go through with it. Now, if you ask me, did he plan to go through with it? No, no, he did not. But the fact of the matter is, you can't even say that you want to. And that's something that I don't think Daniel firmly has a grasp on. And that's the reason he's in jail right now, is because he's just too insane to realize that you shouldn't do that shit. And that's what makes him such a risk. So many people feel sympathy for Daniel because they know he probably doesn't fully understand the gravity of what he's doing and the situation he's in. But the fact that he doesn't understand it just makes him all the more dangerous, because it just means he'll keep doing it again and again because he'll never realize it's wrong. I mean, damn, man, there was a lot to unpack in just that first 3 minutes of phone call, but we still got a whole lot left.
The main concern the judge said is that it is one step away from doing so, and that's their concern. If I get back out, and they're also concerned that if I get back out, I will go back on social media and right. And that's what the judge said. And you know what? I'm okay doing a little bit of time. I would rather show I'm going to be good, than create more issues, right?
Oh, yeah, I agree. I mean, you did well with your 27 days, so.
Right. I'm going to get Grace's number. I'm going to get Tina's. My public defender also said that they were going to reach out to Grace.
Okay.
So they might reach out to you, they might reach out to Grace, but I did tell them that yes, we are engaged, and they're going to try to reach out to her.
Okay.
Just
Property
because
of Larson
they wanted to let her
League.
know that I'm okay, and they wanted to see what she wants as well.
So are the charges like threats against the government or something? Like those?
I guess they're considering, they're calling it interstate threat.
Okay.
They're saying that it's threats and interstate threat.
Jeez.
They're not calling it like terrorist threats. They're not saying anything like that. But they are saying their biggest concern is apparently DDRC. They had to fully evacuate.
And after like comments you made one time, they had to evacuate like the whole building or something.
Yep, and they brought in bomb sniffing dogs.
Jesus Christ.
Because DDRC just took it so seriously. Which, proves kind of how stupid they are. Because they know me so well that they know I'm not going to do that. Kind of ridiculous.
Like, why would they even waste their time? They know who you are.
Right.
There are three things that I really want to talk about with just that snippet we heard right there. The first one being Daniel thinking it's so ridiculous for this non-profit organization that he threatened to blow up to have to evacuate and send dogs in to sniff around. I don't think Daniel understands that he genuinely comes off as an unhinged individual. Of course they're going to take these threats you made seriously. Then we jump to him telling them that him and Grace are engaged. So he's even telling the guards, listen, my fiance Grace needs to hear about this. He tells Clark on the phone right there that he's looking to get Grace and Tina's number. And then poor Grace might get lumped into this if, of course, the FBI decides to go ask her if she knows anything about Daniel. However, I think they'll probably be trying to get in contact with whatever number Daniel was, most frequently talking to who posed as Grace. If I were any of these Daniel Larson trolls who were getting him to do any stupid shit or sending him any, terrible stuff to hopefully get him caught up, I'd be shitting my pants right now, because all of you are probably being looked into. I mean, we're probably being looked into for even making these Larson videos, but I digress. The fact of the matter is, he's sitting here talking about how his fiancee Grace, like, he's on a prison phone call, you know? He only gets these a few times a day, and I said it the last time we listened to a Daniel Larson phone call from jail. He brought up Grace then, he's bringing her up now. It's all he's gonna think about during his time in jail, and his love for her is only seemingly going to grow stronger while he's in there. You know, I wonder if they're going to be able to tell Daniel, like, hey, you know, the real Grace Vanderwall said she has nothing to do with you, yada, yada, yada. But I think they know his mental state, and I also think they're smart enough to just look up the name Grace Vanderwall, see that she's like a semi-famous singer-songwriter, and go, oh, yeah, this guy's full of shit. But if they don't, like, that's going to suck if they get, like, a knock at their door one day, and it's the feds being like, yeah, we need to talk to you about this Daniel Larson guy. This poor girl just cannot escape this guy. Daniel Larson he insists on being involved in her life. And finally, the last thing I wanted to touch on there was the fact that Daniel seemingly has no problem being in jail. He said he's okay with doing a little time. Now, that's not because he feels like he should or he feels like, you know, responsible for his actions, wants to take responsibility for it, wants to serve some justice for the shit he's done. What Daniel wants to do is finally have a bed to call his own. Even if it's in prison, it's better than sleeping on concrete every single day and night.
And not only that, the FBI is still saying things about you, and not only you, but now Discord server.
What were they? Jesus Christ, this is a whole mess now.
Yeah, so the feds are just trying to get me, you know, like they're trying to call me crazy when it's like, no, because this is what I did, and
I agree. Why would you lie? And I mean, was it McDougal that picked you up, or was it different Secret Service?
believe it or not, it was McDougal, and he did actually say that, like, in the end, he doesn't really care that I did threats against him, which, yes, it's a concern, and I shouldn't have done it. It's kind of just ridiculous, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's like, I guess he's trying to do his job, but then he knows you so well. He knows the threats shouldn't be considered real.
He knows that they're not real threats. His concern as well was, like, he asked me to stop the first time, and I didn't.
True.
And I guess that is his point.
And he did ask me to stop, saying that I was an actual lawyer before, because I was still a law student, and he did get mad about that. That was a thing that started the whole thing for me.
Well, yeah, and I mean, when you first got contact, right, it was under crazy circumstances. So
Yeah.
people were lying for safety.
True.
At this point, I feel like people need to now tell the truth of what's really going on.
Oh, no, I agree. It's all going to come out anyway in the trial, so.
Right, and I mean, Tina, because I mean, Daniel McDougal also told me about Tina's comment and said, like, didn't Tina say don't contact Grace anymore? And I'm sitting there going, like, well, that's months ago, years ago. And since then, Tina is now understanding of what's going on.
Jeez. So, yeah, that Instagram comment from a while ago.
But anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call you back
Okay.
tomorrow. Okay? We might need to figure out a way to put money on my books.
Okay, I can help with that.
Okay, to sum up the final part of this phone call, Daniel Larson drops some mind-blowing info on people that I didn't know about, and I imagine a lot of you guys who follow along with Daniel's story didn't know about. And I'm going to say this really quickly, and we're going to move on from it forever and never mention it again. This guy that Daniel's been mentioning for months that sounded like the most clear troll name in the world, named Daniel McDougal, was an actual federal agent. And that's the one who's like on Daniel's case, and Daniel's been mentioning this guy for a while. For a little bit there, he brings up the fact that one of the first times he met Grace, it was under creepy circumstances. And there's even an old video people found of Daniel from 6 months ago saying that his phone was confiscated for CP by this said federal agent. So who knows how long this guy's been looking at Daniel, but it just seems like the whole time Daniel's been ranting and raving about him on his community tab, and everyone thought he was a troll. He is is not. So let's just to get that out there, let's maybe not mention that name anymore, guys. Daniel probably shouldn't have mentioned it in the first place himself. Then we jump to something really creepy, and it's another one of these Grace Vanderwall things that Daniel's known for. He brings up that Tina at one point told him to stop contacting Grace, and he said that was months ago, years ago, and now she's in complete understanding. So apparently, I didn't know about this. One time Daniel or somebody had commented asking about Daniel on Grace or Tina Vanderwall's actual Instagram, and Tina said, please don't contact Grace ever again. And Daniel is now under the belief that, come on, man, she don't think like that anymore. Clearly she's texting me right now telling me otherwise. It's just because another fake person claiming to be Tina Vanderwall got in Daniel's ear and now he thinks they're all on his side. He's telling all these agents this and these people in jail this stuff, and they have to be looking into it knowing that he's just batshit insane. Now, it's not like he couldn't have done this before, right? He was supposed to have mental evaluations the whole time he was in jail the past few times, but he wasn't ever there long enough for, I think, them to really do it, because if they did, there's no way he would have been walking out of that son of a bitch. But now he's in jail for what looks like a really long time, ladies and gentlemen, because they don't play around with stuff like this, and Daniel wouldn't be being tried federally if they didn't think they had something on him. So as more of this comes out and the days go on, I'll be sure to have all the updates here for you. You know, I was here when Chris went to jail and we covered all that, and it seems like Daniel might be entering his own little Quickville arc. But that's for another day, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video I laid out for you here. I will see y'all in the next one, and until then, take care and have a phenomenal rest of your day, my friends. It is Friday, and the weekend is finally here. You can sit back, relax, spark one up, and just have a good old time. And if you aren't having a good time, then think one thing to yourself, ladies and gentlemen, and that thing is this. Damn, it feels good to not be Daniel Larson, especially on a weekend like this. So until next time, I'm out of here, and you guys have a safe rest of your day. I'll see you on the next one.